Columbia City 7 years ago was a place that you would avoid. It was not a place that was a destination, but it was a place that you would pass through going from one place to another.
You walk down Columbia City, at 8 o'clock in the morning, and nothing was going on. I mean, there were prostitutes walking on the street. That was the only people that you would see.
It's only been in the last few years that it's become a destination. Citywide, people come to visit the unique shops and restaurants. It's really been exciting to see the evolution and the change over the last few years.
It takes a lot of effort. I mean, I think that Impact Capital sort of perceived some of the physical possibilities and potential, as well as the need in Columbia City. This is where the role of a long-term strategic commitment, both in terms of physical, human commitment through the work of the nonprofits, as well as financial investment in terms of funding over time. If you only do 1 year, throw a bunch of money in, make something happen, have an event, that doesn't create a Columbia City. It creates an event and everybody goes home. But it really was the ability of a group like Impact Capital that's sustainable over many, many years. I mean, it really took probably a good 10 years of investment and support for the nonprofits that work down here, and the efforts in the neighborhood to support the businesses and to support the efforts and to volunteer and come out and do all the things that we did in Columbia City to make it actually happen.
I think it's more livable now, not only because of the work that we've done, but because of the work that many people have done. I think we were the beginnings of the work. We started it, and then the others came behind us once they saw stabilization and began to do reinvestments in the neighborhood.
The Community Safety Initiative is a program that Impact Capital has done since I think probably the mid-90s, early to mid-90s. And really what it is marrying public safety with physical improvement, bricks and mortars with community activism.
What we did with them is we gave them some money that helps them think about doing security in their communities. And so what we really did with that is gave that money to Homesite. They were able to get a person on their staff who work with the business community, people who work in that community, to talk about what is it that you need to do to make your community safer for your businesses and for yourselves. So that is able to enable them to think about what they could do. So the community group got together and said, there are things we want to do. Lighting in the back alleys. We want to be able to think about having better crosswalks, being able to think about having the police work with us to make sure things are working right in our community. So with the whole idea of that money was to help that community figure out how do we make ourselves better, and then to do that on our own over time.
The role of Impact Capital in helping us do the work that we do is that you can be very strong and committed about your mission. You can spend all the time you want walking the streets, cleaning the sidewalks, but when it comes down to it, you have to have a way to bring investment into an area to do physical improvement.
Impact Capital has been the one entity that was willing to be the first money out of the chute and be the entity that will provide technical assistance to help us get things done. We were standing on the corner and looking across the street at 7.5 acres of, we thought, opportunity, but also a community that was in need of help. And we felt inspired by this because we saw that we could really make a change here. We then asked Impact Capital to look at this and help us redevelop this property.
Seed built a building in Southeast Seattle for seniors. We helped them think about how to get into there, get the building started, how to get construction funding in there. Now they have a building that's finished, has 300 senior citizens in it. Now you think about those 300 senior citizens, they don't stay at home, they still need services, so that brings more services to the area. So they're spending money in the area, brings more businesses to the area, You have a building now that has seniors to live in it, it has retail in it, it has a whole area that now has changed.
And if it wasn't for impact capital, it wouldn't have gotten done. Because in any development project, there are two critical things in the beginning. One is site control. And impact capital gave us the initial seed money to buy land. And then two, it's pre-development, doing the financial analysis, doing some of the environmental analysis, doing architectural work. And impact capital gave us that money as well. So those two key things, had we not had that from impact capital, none of this would have been possible.
For me, the really nice thing is there's always somebody a short phone call away who can come up for a cup of tea. You have a pea patch nearby. People know that pea patch are little community gardens. And just recently, one of my tea drinking neighbors, her daughter is now living with her. And the daughter misses her big home. And she's been very eager to help. So she helped me tear out the weeds from my pea patch. We went out and bought a whole bunch of tomato plants. We have 6 tomato plants. That's 4 more than I need. So I'm planning on feeding both households, and so there's a lot of community stuff going on.
Impact capital improves the quality of life in the communities. One, by supporting nonprofits like Homesite to do the work that we do on the ground. Both by direct, funding, but also by making capital investments and allowing us to use the seed money that they have to leverage more resources, both human resources and other capital sources, to do things in the community, improve the physical appearance of the community, to organize the community, to activate the people, to have them come out and basically do things for themselves.
When I first visited this building, it was boarded up and had been unused for a number of years. So the first thing that I did was to clean up the windows, I put up some posters with coming soon signs, and I stuck a business plan in the front door. The amazing thing is that the day that I opened, without any advertising except for those windows, except for those signs in the window, there was a line out the door, and I actually ran out of food 2 hours after I opened. So that speaks to the power of community, where people actually read that business plan that was posted on the door and started to tell their neighbors and friends about it, so that when I did open, the word had already gotten out in the community.
Today you come here at 7:30, 8 o'clock, you walk down to the bakery and get a cup of coffee, and there's other people there. You come here in the evening and it's like people walking up and down the street because of the vibrancy of the businesses. You come here on a weekend to see a theater, movie theater, and you go in there to see a matinee, and 20 other people that are in there. So this is like sort of this whole neighborhood thing that you don't get in other places.
We put money in, others follow with more money, more investments come, more people come who want to be there because they see the changes that are happening. So that changes the trajectory of that community over time, so it becomes a better place to be, it becomes a better place to live, a better place to raise your kids. And I think that's what we do. When we do that kind of work, it really makes communities go in a whole different direction.
What this whole thing meant to the community is that we see a community now that feels as though somebody cares about their stability and change. Somebody cares about how they grow and develop, and somebody cares about their survival. And you can see that when you walk down the streets in that neighborhood now. You see people, in their yards. You see pea patches. You see the reinvestment by homeowners. You see a changed community.